Hello and welcome to Tiny Desk Knitting with Emma. Happy Tuesday. It's so sunny today and really cold in Baltimore. I'm wearing a super thick wool sweater over my running clothes because I haven't gone for my run yet today. And putting my clothes on helps me like get ready to actually go when it's time to do that when it's really cold. And I figured I would put on a sweater that I could talk about because I haven't been knitting a ton of stuff, but I did release 2 patterns this week or today, so I will tell you about those. But this sweater is called Fernne Brona, or I assume it's Fernne Brona and not Fernne Brona, but I don't drink, so I don't really know what how to pronounce cocktails. This is a pattern by Thea Coleman, who names all of her patterns after cocktails. And her like username on Ravelry is baby cocktails. So I made this actually right at the beginning of COVID. Like this was like the first thing that I made. So I was in England during the beginning of COVID doing field work for my grad school thesis, and I came home on March 15th or something. Yeah, March 14th or March 15th. 2020, and the Woolly Thistle had this really big, like, I don't know if it was like a COVID sale or like things had been on sale for a while, and I just was like, I knew I was gonna go home because of COVID like halfway through the week, so I like booked a flight to Vermont I was supposed to fly back to New York and then go back to Philadelphia, but I was like, I'll just go back to Vermont because I can't go to Philadelphia because I was living on campus in a dorm, and they were like, you can't come back if you've been traveling internationally, which I was. So I ordered a bunch of yarn to get shipped to my parents' house where I was going, and this was a long time ago. The Woolly Thistle was carrying this was Watershed by Harrisville, I think in the color Aquifer. I'm not even sure if this is actually made anymore, this Watershed line. There was like I think the Watershed was the worsted version. I think there was one called Flywheel, which was sport. And then there was Turbine, which was bulky. And again, I'm not sure if this line is even still in existence, but this is a nice, like slightly oversized sweater, which you can tell because I'm wearing it over like a full running outfit. But it's really warm, which is really good for today because it's so cold. And this sweater is knitted, I knitted it to pattern, which I don't usually do in this kind of situation, but it's like a drop sleeve pullover that I knitted in pieces and seamed together. And I will say, if I did this again, I would knit the front and back separately as 2 pieces. You could knit them up to the armholes and then split, but like the gauge might change, so I don't think I would. And I like to just keep it, consistent with knitting front to back, whatever. And then I guess I would pick up stitches for the sleeves. Like I would probably not seam this part until like I would pick up stitches first for the sleeves, and then I would like knit the sleeves in the round, and then I would seam up the sides, and then I wouldn't have to purl because I knitted the sleeves flat, which was annoying. So that was the only annoying part about this pattern. So, but that would be really easy to modify even if you are not like super accustomed to modifying patterns. So totally no problem. But yeah, I actually wear this sweater a lot because it's very cozy, and you can wear it like over a collared shirt, which is, well, I'm wearing it over a quarter zip today. Or you can just wear it like normal over a tank top or something, or just whatever your skin if you aren't sensitive to wool. But if you can't get Watershed, this is basically the same as Harrisville Highland. I think they just had different colors, and this might be a different wool content than Harrisville Highland, but it's really similar. And you can get Harrisville Highland from the Woolly Thistle now. They had it in their selection boxes this fall, which was super cool. I've used Harrisville Highland a lot. You can get it on cones I don't know if the cones are available everywhere, but like I used to buy it in cones, which isn't ideal. It's like buying Shetland wool on cones, but it's like the thicker the yarn, so like the higher the yarn weight, I would say, the more drastic the change in gauge is going to be from knitting off of a cone. So for Shetland wool, the difference is pretty small because the like wool itself is really thin, fingering weight, jumper weight yarn. It's not very thick, so it doesn't make a huge difference. Like while you're knitting, the fabric might look like a little thinner and like kind of not as good, and then when you block it, it'll kind of like blooms and it looks much better. But with something like Harrisville Highland, I think it's more obvious, so I would always prefer to knit it in a skein. So yeah, Briggs & Little is another good option for this type of wool. Again, available at the Woolly Thistle. My affiliate link is somewhere up there if you want to check them out. And if you use my link, if you click my link and shop with the Woolly Thistle, then I get a small kickback at no extra cost to you, which is super helpful for supporting my channel, which is free on YouTube. So anyway, I just figured I would talk a little bit about something that I hadn't knitted this week just to fill the space. But this is really fun to knit, actually. There's like this textured panel on the front and back. The back, you can tell it's the back because there's like a stockinette stripe to like divide it, so you can always tell which is the front and the back. Also, the front neck is lower. And then there's just a really simple cable here with the kind of stockinette panels on either side of that. But yeah, it's really just stockinette sleeves, pretty simple, knits up fast. If you're used to knitting with like super thin yarn like I am, it knits up really fast. So yeah, I hadn't knitted anything like this in a long time when I went home for COVID to knit this. Well, to knit many things, but this among them. Yeah, this was one of the things that I made kind of during that first time. And that was a really weird time. It was really uncertain and kind of scary because like nobody really knew what was going to happen in the world, I think. But I mean, I still to this day, I'm like super grateful that I got to be with my family in a place that was really safe, where I could be outside as much as I wanted. I remember many things about that time. And a bunch of my high school friends also had come back. So my friend Ivy, she and I would go take our dogs for walks on the golf course every day because no one was golfing because you couldn't go golfing. And one time in particular, I'll never forget, I slammed my thumb in the car door. This thumb, no, maybe it was this. It was my right thumb. I can't even remember which thumb it was. I think it was my right thumb. I slammed it in the car door when we got to the golf course, and it did fall off. Like I lost the nail. It took a long time, but it grew back normally because I didn't damage the nail bed. But it really hurt. I mean, it hurt for a long time because of the pressure buildup, but it really hurt on that walk. And Ivy distracted me by telling me about this new show called Tiger King. It was like, you have to watch this. And she kept like describing more things about this. And I was like, this sounds like more and more outrageous. Like, I can't believe this is a real show. And she was like, no, it's really, you have to watch it. So I went home with my parents and I watched it. And we were like, wow, like, this is so nuts. So yeah, many things. And one of the things that I got to do was knit a lot. I was writing my thesis, and I honestly don't know if I would have completed it well, at least if I'd had to be at school during that time, because I had a really busy life on campus. I was working in a dorm and I was teaching, and so many other things were happening, and I still had to teach. I taught, like, I basically recorded online lectures for my students, my music history students at the time. And I was in like a class. I was in one class, I think it was a like education class, like history of American higher education or something. So I had to take, like, I had a lecture once a week. But otherwise my job was just to write. And because I had so much uninterrupted time, I wrote my thesis, and it was good. And I wrote it in my childhood bed, sitting there on the bed for, like, it took, from mid-March to early May, for about 6 weeks I wrote. And I don't think I would have done that thesis well if I hadn't. And I was really proud of it. So COVID was not a gift, but sorry, teabag. I made the most of it. So this is my Shrek mug. I love Shrek. Anyone who's between the ages of like 25 to 35 probably also knows what I'm talking about when I say I love Shrek. Shrek was very zeitgeist changing for children who were 4 to 15 probably, maybe younger, 12 when it came out. And I think anyone who has like an older sibling who is my age, like my brother, also that, you know, like, because he was like not even 1 when the first Shrek movie came out, but because he had me, an older sibling, he was like sucked into the Shrek cinematic universe as well. So anyway, that's enough about that, I guess. Tell me what you knitted during COVID that you're proud of. I also learned a lot about Fair Isle knitting during COVID. That was kind of like my deep dive into that. It's like when I started doing that. That's why I started Tiny Desk Knitting like less than a year later. I wanted to, you know, learn about Fair Isle knitting, and now I have all this crazy yarn. And I use it, and that's really fun for me. Speaking of Fair Isle, I have 2 Fair Isle patterns that I am releasing today. The first one is my second cup cozy. So I actually knitted this one. I thought about knitting the one from last week, the Cassiopeia cozy that I released. Cassiopeia cozy pattern, somewhere up there if you want it. That was my cozy last week. So this is a different design. This is my Pegasus cozy. I asked for recommendations for what constellations I should name my cozies last week, and somebody commented Pegasus. So thank you so much for commenting that. So this is my sample that I knitted, and this is the colors that are going to be in the chart. This isn't blocked. I might just like soak it really quickly and just take a picture of it like lying flat, so that it's like looks blocked for the photo that I'm going to take for the pattern, so I can put it up on Ravelry today. I meant to put it up yesterday, but I literally knitted this yesterday. Monday is my rest day, so I got up and I like cast this on, and I didn't finish it before I went to work, but I finished it after my run club, like before I went to bed, and I cast it off. And this morning I got up and wove in the ends because I haven't gone for my run yet because it was really cold and I didn't want to. I was like, well, this is a work from home day, so I can change my schedule around. So this is the Pegasus Cup Cozy. This one's really fun. I knit a lot of my cozies in the similar colors because of the like leftovers that I have in the bin. So I think I need to be better about like different, using different colors, but this one is funky, blue and orange. I used this pretty much the same color combination, but red, for a different cozy that I sent off. Also the background on that one was white, and this is light gray. And I like this one better with the orange in the middle, so that's fun. But yeah, the cup cozies are really fun to knit. They're quick. If you haven't done Fair Isle before, they're a good way to get practice with it. But it's also a nice way to swatch colors if you're not sure if like a set of colors will work well together. And then of course you can use it. You could also, you know, needle felt the sides, cut them down the sides and, you know, steek them down the sides, and then like, I don't know, you could make coasters. They would lie flat. That'd be cute. You could even pick up the stitches along the sides and knit some ribbed edges if you wanted to do that. But they go around a, you know, paper coffee cup or a reusable one. So that's, you know, cute and fun. And I really enjoy knitting them because they're satisfying. Like, it's nice to just like snap your fingers and the project is done. I realize that I am a really fast Fair Isle knitter because of all the practice I've had. So this does not have to take you one day. It can take you a week or longer or whatever, however long you need to make something. Have fun like with the colors. This is a nice project if you got the Woolly Thistles, you know, Shetland jumper weight JNS grab bags that come with 13 balls for the price of 10. That's a good deal. So I'll link I think they're still doing them through the holidays. I saw like an ad for them the other day on Instagram or Facebook or something, so I'll link it. And this is a nice way to just play with colors, try out whatever you want, experiment. Like if you don't know if colors are going to go well together, you can, I mean, I rate it for 5 colors, but you can use as many colors as you want. So for this pattern, I actually included the chart in these 5 colors, well, 5 plus the background. And then I also included a monochrome one. So you can just like use the chart and change colors wherever you want. You can also change the background colors if you like. I don't tend to do cup cozies where I also change the background colors unless I'm swatching for a sweater, just because it's just more ends to weave in. But you can do that too. It's a really nice way to experiment with how the colors are going to look together. Yeah, in a sweater or something. So definitely useful exercise to knit them, but also fun and cute, and you can give them away as gifts. People really like these, so I am knitting more so that I can give them away to my friends for Christmas or whatever holiday they celebrate, or just as winter gifts, because people like to give gifts this season. So here are here's my Pegasus cozy. I also like this design because it's really different from my other ones, so that's fun. So next week I'll have a new one, and it will be different from all of the other ones. And again, I'll hopefully have a knitted sample so you can like actually see what it looks like. I'm like always afraid to like, you know, dive into new balls of yarn. I don't know why. Like, I shouldn't be afraid to use the yarn that I have. It's silly. So, you know, we'll see. Anyway, so the cowl that I released last week, the bubble cowl, that was my Glinda cowl from Wicked. That is now on Ravelry. I don't have it. I gave it to a 5-year-old because, again, I thought it was too small. It's not like really, it wasn't really that small, but it was one of those things where I was like, you know, I just like, I feel like it's tight around my neck, and I'm like, I don't really want to give this to somebody that like where it's just like really tight, and then, you know, it's like slightly uncomfortable, like the fit is not perfect. So I gave it to a little girl who was very excited about it. But there, if you watched last week, I was showing it there, and the pattern's up there if you want the bubble cowl. It did size it for child and adult. So if you want to knit a smaller one, or even smaller, you can like size it down even more. Just take out a repeat to make it smaller. Like, so I think the one from last week, it was like the chart repeats 7 times around for a child's and 8 times around for an adult's. So if you want to make it even smaller, just make it, you know, 6 repeats. You can also make it bigger. You could do 9 repeats. So it's up to you, just whatever you want to do that makes the most sense. Yeah, so yeah. But I have my Alphaba version this week. Not the same pattern, obviously. She doesn't travel with a bubble, so had to make a different pattern. So this is not a super brand new pattern. I actually knitted a sample of this a long time ago, 4 years ago, which I may have mentioned last week. This was, and there's probably a video on this from like, I'll see if I can link it down there, from like 4 years ago, about how to design your own cowl. And I'm happy to not gatekeep that information. Like how I designed this, I used the book Selbu Patterns for both of this cowl, which is called the Verdigree cowl. Somewhere up there is the pattern. I just released it today. And the bubble cowl. So I didn't use the same palette of greens and pinks. I actually didn't use this pink at all in the bubbles, and I didn't use the green from the bubble cowl at all in this cowl. Very different. I think that this, you know, needed to be a little moodier, but I really do like the pink that I chose, the pop. This is knitted in JNS and Spindrift, so Jameson and Smith 2-ply jumper weight and Jamesons of Shetland Spindrift. You need definitely don't need more than 25 grams of each color. This one has 4 background colors and 5 foreground colors because of the pop. So you need 9 colors, and then it's the same as the bubble cowl. It's lined with a soft yarn. So I used a cashmere and wool DK blend. I suggest that you use fingering weight for the outside and then a DK for the inside. And so what you do, the construction, is that when you finish knitting the cowl as tall as you want it, so on me that's, where's the back? I'm gonna put this on, there we go. The first one of these I knitted is looser. I think it has the same number of stitches, but I think I just knitted it like more loosely. It's like hangs looser around my neck, but this one's really nice for like really when it's cold because it stays close to your skin. Like you can do this and it will stay up, and it's so soft. So I recommend that if you don't have a DK weight yarn, like, I mean, merino DK is fine as long as it's soft, that something you want to wear close to your skin, or whoever the recipient is that they want to wear close to their skin. I suggest a fingering and mohair. That's another combination you can use. Or like fingering weight, you know, merino single ply and like Surrey alpaca silk, or you know, I sometimes just suggest in the pattern, I think I suggested Cardiff cashmere because that's the one I used for my very first sample. My brother got me a 125-gram ball of that once, and I was like, what the heck am I supposed to do with this? And that's what I ended up using it for, was lining a cowl, and it was like the best thing ever. It was so cozy, and I was so glad I did that. So this was actually white. I dyed this myself, this green. Same with the pink. It was 2 skeins of white yarn that my friend brought me back from Quebec. It was like a local wool and cashmere blend, and super soft. So I was gonna make these white mittens with it, and then what's the word? And then I was gonna embroider them, but then I got the idea to do this, and I was like, oh, that's better. I'll just get white mittens filthy. So might as well knit something pretty and soft and make use of the super soft yarn. And I'm probably going to keep this because it's so soft. And I wore it to work yesterday when it was really cold outside. And I was like, oh yeah, this is great. So you can knit it even taller. Like if you know, live somewhere really cold, you just want it to be like, this is very customizable. It's just a tube. So as long as you have enough for the inside. So if you buy a 25-gram ball of cashmere from Cardiff Cashmere, you might need 2 if you want to make a taller cowl. Like it might not go as far as you want for a lining. So you'll need to make sure that like when you fold that part in, you know, there might be some Fair Isle that tucks in as well. This is a 3-needle bind off. I need to trim that tail, by the way, but you can also Kitchener stitch it. So I feel like I started describing the way that you construct this and then I stopped. So I'm going to go back to that. So you knit the outside and then you decrease the stitches by half when you get to the top, so however tall it is that you want it, and then you switch to a needle like 3 or 4 sizes bigger and a thicker yarn, and you knit the inside in stockinette until you run out of yarn, or it's as long as you want it. I always say like knit it like an inch or 2 shorter than the rest of the cowl so that the lining won't peek out when you fold it back inside. And then you will increase, like you'll knit into every stitch, 2 stitches into every stitch, so that you have the same stitch count again, because it starts with a provisional cast on, which I don't think I mentioned. And then you'll go back to your Shetland yarn while you're doing that. And you can use the bigger needles. It doesn't really matter at that point. If you have 2 sets of small needles, that's ideal. Or if you have like a 3 and a 2 or something, like a close, but if you still need to use your big needles, that's also fine. And then you do a 3-needle bind off to graft the edges together after you unpick your provisional cast on and put it back on the needles. And then you're done. So you have to like weave in all your ends first. It's really important that you do that, especially for the Fair Isle section. But the ends won't be visible, which is nice. And then when you're done, you weave in the final end and then you block it. So it's really simple actually in terms of construction, but I like to think that it's clever. I didn't come up with this design, like the specific design. There's like other cowls that did this first, like the Snuggle is Real is the first one I can think of, which is a really cool pattern, and I'm going to put it in the show notes so you can go check it out and buy it if you want. But I like this style of cowl, the tube style. It stays up and it's super warm, and I really love the idea of lining it with something soft. So in the Snuggle is Real cowl, it's lined with a Surrey alpaca silk and then merino, like held together. So I do think lining it with cashmere is really extra special, but it's a little bit of a splurge. So, because the cashmere is not cheap. So yeah, this is something super fun. And of course, knit it in whatever color palette you want, monochrome, a million different colors, every single row in a different set of colors, whatever you like. I like this is my favorite kind of rate to change colors. You know, I like to do kind of 9. It's a really, like, it's a complex palette, but it's not too much, and you can still see the design, which is complicated, but fun if you like to knit Fair Isle. And again, this is nice because it doesn't have to like fit a body. It just has to like fit around your neck. So this can be a good project for somebody who is not like as comfortable with Fair Isle knitting, but is comfortable reading a colorwork chart. So it is, you know, a little complicated, but once you figure out how to read a colorwork chart, not too bad. So those are my 2 patterns that I will be putting on Ravelry today. I need to just photograph this one, so it might be later in the day. But this, I should have put it up there already. In case I didn't already, it's there. All of the patterns are in the description box. You can always find me on Ravelry as Emma Barnaby Designs. So you should be able to find that. But yeah, I don't actually have a whole lot else to say. It's cold here. That's kind of it. It's like a really cold snap this week. So yeah. Sorry my episodes have been so short. I just haven't been knitting that much, but I would rather come on and talk about a little bit than like wait 3 weeks. And this does keep me like a little bit honest. Like I did knit this yesterday. Oh, and I did almost finish these socks, but I was playing yarn chicken with the blue yarn, the light blue yarn, so I kind of was like avoiding knitting it because I didn't want to lose yarn chicken. I did lose yarn chicken, but so I needed like 20 more rounds between this and then the toe, and I did 18, so it's okay. It's not going to be noticeable. So socks almost done, just need to finish the toe of this one. So that's a today project. And I still haven't blocked anything from last week. So today's gonna be a big blocking day because I need to block this little cozy to photograph it, and I need to get stuff on the blocking mats that I knitted and showed last week. Oh, and I also started knitting another little baby sweater from some hand spun, which is actually much nicer than the other hand spun. So almost done actually. This was like a 1-day thing last week. I just cast it on like Tuesday or something and just started knitting. And you know, I don't know if you've ever knitted things for little babies, it goes really fast. So this will probably be for Nadia. This was supposed to be newborn size, but it absolutely is not. So this is gonna be Nadia's Christmas sweater probably, because she is almost 1 and I think this will fit her perfectly. So Nadia, if you're watching this, I'm sure that you aren't paying attention, but this is for you. Sometimes Nadia watches with Monica. So this is cute and fun. I have another one of these. I don't think I'll run out of this cake. I still have plenty for 2 sleeves, but in case I do, I have another thing. So if I do run out, I'll just knit another baby sweater with that. But yeah, that's all I have to say. My foot feels better. Thank you so much to everyone who gave me well wishes. It feels 100% better, although I also went to PT last week. So yeah, I'm working on that. I need to do my hip exercises, but I've been doing the foot ones every day. The foot ones are a lot easier. I can do them in the car. So, but I have stabilizing muscle imbalances in my feet. My right side is weaker generally, and also my hip. So I need to be working on that. And that is all for now. I hope everyone's doing great. I've got a really packed December, so been really enjoying just like being busy. Unfortunately, less time for knitting, but as I say, that's okay. You know, we will knit when we have time, and that's okay if we don't. So thank you so much for watching. As always, this has been Tiny Desk Knitting with Emma. Bye.